If you're a creative person, you probably felt it, that gnawing anxiety that AI is developing so fast that you're about to be replaced, or that the future will leave your stories behind. But what if the truth was the exact opposite? What if right now, in this brief and unrepeatable window, your stories are more valuable than they've ever been or will ever be again? In this video, I'm going to share with you an epiphany I had that is going to completely change the way you see this moment and your creative future, and why what you create right now could be the most valuable work of your life, and why the moment to create it is disappearing fast. One of the greatest challenges we have as human beings is that we can't see our world with total objectivity. We have no distance from the moment that we're currently in. The current moment is filled with all sorts of dangers and anxieties and fears, and we don't know how it's going to turn out. It's only with the benefit of hindsight that we can see the connective tissue and make sense of what's happened, and that's actually the job of what a storyteller does. Imagine for a moment an archaeologist on a dig in Egypt, uncovering some ancient writings from someone completely unknown. Not a pharaoh or a scribe or the Library of Alexandria, but just some ordinary, average, everyday person who happened to write down what their life experience was all about. For us today, that would be a priceless treasure, not because it's great writing necessarily, maybe it's even grammatically incorrect or doesn't say anything particularly interesting or useful, but simply because it gives us a window into the mind and the thinking of someone alive at that time. The story would be like a time capsule from a mind in a world that no longer exists. Human imagination is the product of the inputs that we experience. Your imagination is unique to you. My imagination is unique to me, based upon what we've lived in our lives, based upon who we are, our DNA, the interactions we have with the world around us. The imagination of that ancient Egyptian is something we literally cannot recreate ourselves. We see his life through the filter of our own experience. And the difference between ancient Egypt and today is vast and extreme. Well, right now, today, we're living through exactly the same kind of thing. Future generations, 5 generations from now, 10 generations, 20 generations from now, they will only dream of being able to see what we're seeing the way we're seeing it. But the catch is, they literally won't be able to. The difference between that ancient Egyptian and us, if we imagine forward into the future, will be equally as different, equally as stark, except that this moment is bigger. That anxiety you feel about AI is because we're at the beginning of this tidal wave that's going to completely transform our world. Everything up to this point has been organic and human and a natural progression. Everything after this point will be hybrid. Think about it. With the introduction of AI and robotics and biotechnology, we're going to live longer. We're going to think faster. We're going to completely change the way that we interact with the world. We go from organic to a digital organic hybrid. And I totally understand that there was a lot of resistance and anxiety around that idea. But the epiphany that I had was that we happen to be fortunate enough to be alive at the exact moment that this transformation is going to occur. And so the imagination that we are blessed with is from this moment. Once we merge, future humans will never see or experience or imagine our world in the same way again. They'll do so through the lens of expanded intelligence and all the information in the world and an AI filter. And that makes us the last of the original human storytellers. What we create right now, the stories we tell, the lives we describe, the imagination that comes out of this perspective is irreplaceable. And just like that random person from the archaeological dig, the story you tell right now comes from your unique imagination, your window on the world. You are sharing something that no one else can or will ever be able to see or imagine or experience. And that makes it intrinsically valuable. See, beyond the immediate value of what your ideas or stories might be worth in the current marketplace, there are also 3 steps of value that will extend over time. First comes the nostalgia value. If you're around my age, you're probably nostalgic for the 80s, so movies or songs or details from that era can bring back memories of childhood and kind of how we became who we are today. Well, a few decades from now, the nostalgia will be for this moment in time. So the better we can capture this moment, the better we can connect people in the future with what it was like to be here and to witness this moment in time. And because this is such a profound and transformative moment, people will be looking to this time as a way to connect with that recent past. And I'm not saying that the future won't be better or that we'll be longing for this bygone era, but it's part of our nature to look back to our roots and understand where we came from, which is why the stories and imagination from this moment will also carry the next type of value, which is historical value. If you imagine hundreds of years into the future, looking back at this transformational moment, what was it like to be in this moment? What were the fears that we had? What were the dreams that we had? What didn't we understand? What did we completely get wrong? Imagine if every single person on the entire planet captured their unique perspective, told the stories that came from their imagination. We would have this time capsule of this moment unparalleled in ancient Egyptian archaeology. As AI gets faster and faster and these tools get more powerful and into the hands of everyone, it's naturally going to change the way we see and perceive and interact with our world. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, that's a great thing. But it's necessarily going to change our imagination and the stories that come out of it. And so this window of opportunity is naturally shrinking because even if you don't use AI or don't lean into it, it's still going to change the world around us. And that's going to affect what you imagine and the world that you're navigating through, which actually leads us to the last type of value, which is unforeseen value. If you imagine AI and augmented reality, virtual reality, we could take that archaeological dig, the story that person created, and use AI to create an artificial simulation of the story world. The person who created that story has no idea that it had this value, that there was no possible way they could have predicted at the time they wrote on that tablet. The same is true for us for the future. What you do today has market value today. It has potential nostalgia value in the future. It has, in this moment, historical value beyond that. But it also has just automatically, intrinsically, unforeseen value. Value that we cannot possibly know or predict or imagine or understand at this point because we don't know what that future holds. But there is one thing we know for sure, and that is that no one else in the history of time or the entirety of the future will live the life you are currently living. No one will ever see the world through your unique lens. And if you happen to be alive at this particular extraordinary moment in human history, you need to capture your imagination. You need to capture the stories that only you can tell. I know there's a lot of negativity and pessimism in the industry with the disruptive changes that AI is bringing, but this is the natural way of things. We progress, we invent new technologies, we do new things, we explore new vistas, and it moves us in different directions. It is not possible that the future will look and feel like today. It is not possible that the trajectory of humanity stays put. So the real question is, all right, but how do we survive this moment? Do you think, okay, Jeff, I can accept that there might be unforeseen value to what I create or nostalgic value, historical value, but what about market value? What about right now, today? And that's what I'm working on right now. I'm putting together a free video that's going to completely explain my new approach to all of this. I believe there's one word that you need to focus on in your creative writing and in your creative efforts moving forward. And that one word is indispensable. If you have a unique window on the world, The value that you bring to the current marketplace is what makes you unique and indispensable to that marketplace. So in addition to the free deep dive video, I'm also putting together a 5-day challenge. Link is in the description below to help you build a roadmap to your indispensable creative future. And it is my hope that you will capture what is unique about you, not just for our current generation, but for future generations as well. If that free deep dive video is ready, it's going to pop up here somewhere. And if not, make sure to click the subscribe button so we will see you in a future video.